Also Florence and Eugene. Let's get more details now in your Storm Tracker forecast.
Now, Storm Tracker 9 weather with Chief Meteorologist Holden LaCroix.
Yeah, tracking some scattered thunderstorms down across southern Oregon and northern California. We're going to get into that in just a second. But right now, big story is the heat. 94 across areas of Eugene. We've kind of been going back and forth in the temperature department between 96 to 94. But for the most part, the heat is going to remain through the course of the evening. And these winds are actually going to be increasing. That's why we've kind of had a heightened fire threat today for both the hot, dry and windy conditions, and also the chance of those thunderstorms. Speaking of which, down across southern Oregon as we speak and into northern California. In fact, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for this particular cell right here, kind of east of Interstate 5. But for the most part, we're tracking some pretty hefty downpours across northern Klamath County along 97. For the most part, if you're across areas of Roseburg, say eastern portions of Douglas County, southern portions of the county, you could see a stray thunderstorm this evening. But for the most part, if you look off toward the south and east right now, you probably see these what we call overshooting tops of thunderstorms that are kind of spreading out across the region. But for the most part, here locally across Eugene, we're not going to see much. Maybe some clouds from this as high pressure still remains the dominating force, which in return is also producing that moisture as it kind of gets pinwheeled around the high pressure system. But as far as those storm chances the next couple of afternoons, again, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, it's mainly going to be directed toward this bullseye right here. Northern Klamath County, Jackson, maybe up towards Deschutes, mainly just south of the Bend area. But for the most part, you can see a few of those isolated showers could make their way over the pass, but the bulk of the energy is going to be down toward our south and our east. Speaking of which, 7 o'clock this evening, here's a few of those isolated storms. For the most part, cooling back down to around 75 by 11 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow morning, briefly get down to around 60, maybe 62. So still really a warm night tonight. Maybe a little bit of patchy mist toward the coast thanks to the marine layer. For the most part, you can see the heat and also the isolated storm chance returning toward tomorrow afternoon. So the best time to get that yard work done before the July 4th holiday, possibly Wednesday. We are tracking cooler and cloudier conditions, so fire danger is still going to be high, but it is going to be better. Maybe a better chance of getting outside and taking care of that yard work, because sparks from your lawnmower can cause a wildfire, so you kind of want to avoid the peak heat of the afternoon. Here's the cooling trend all the way to Friday, about 78 degrees. And here's the reason why. This trough of low pressure starting to move in. Doesn't last terribly long. You can see the heat returning for this weekend, but it's moderated heat. We're not expecting the oppressive heat like what we're dealing with this afternoon. And here's the Oregon coast first. Morning fog, afternoon wind, kind of the next couple of days. There's July 4th at 63. Sunny, about 65 heading into the weekend. Across the Roseburg area, there's your thunder chances, mainly south and east county of Douglas, possibly Coos as well. But for the most part, you can see only around 82 heading into July 4th as opposed to the 90s today. Up into the Cascades, stray thunderstorm chance. Again, this is mainly directed toward Crater Lake and south down across Jackson County. But for the most part, you can see temperatures cool and maybe a little bit chilly if you're hiking on Saturday morning, about 39 degrees. Across Willamette Valley, 90 on Tuesday. There's the cooler weather heading into Wednesday, Thursday, and July 4th, coolest day of the week at 78 degrees. But if you're a fan of the heat, it will return by Monday. Stick around, more news coming up right after this break.
Closed captioning on KEZI